Hello everyone, AirMax here. In this video I'm going to try to answer a simple question. Can you run Debian as your daily driver on your PC to create content and game on a daily basis? Is it worth it? Is it easy? What type of problem you're going to encounter? So in this challenge, I decided to run this distribution for 1 month. So I have all the answer for you. Let's get into it. So as you can see, my plan to run Debian and use it as a daily driver is still a success. But it came with a lot of caveats, and I think we need to talk about it. So first, what you need to understand is what was my whole strategy when I entered this challenge. As you know, I wanted to use it as a daily driver, and I knew from the get-go that Debian stable would not be good enough for my usage. So I went from stable to testing because I felt like I really wanted the latest application available while running my daily driver. So let's start with installation, because installation, we did it together on a stream. And if you were here, you already know, but if you were not here watching the stream while I was installing this baby on my computer, I couldn't even boot. I couldn't even get a graphical interface while installing Debian on my PC. So I own a 5950X AMD and a 4090 RTX from NVIDIA. So I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, dude, you are using NVIDIA on Linux, you are crazy. Well, it kind of works on all the distro I use and I main. Obviously, there is some distro which are not really supporting NVIDIA, but I can say right now that Debian is one of them, because I couldn't install the distro properly right off the bat. That was the first issue I had. I had to go into the grub menu and activate the kernel parameter called nomodset. And I'm telling you, I was not fun. Fortunately, some of the viewers were here to help me. I think I would have figured it out myself. But the issue with this type of problem is that if you are on your own and you have to make your research, there is a high chance you're going to fix it. But it's going to take you so much time. I was finally able to start and have a graphical interface with my graphic card. And then the big issue I had, the second one, was related to the sound. So for you to understand, most of the modern distro right now is they deliver the Pipewire full packages. And the way it works with Pipewire is pretty straight simple. It comes with Pipewire layer at the top, and it has another layer called Wire Plumber. And Wire Plumber make really the connection between the hardware and the software from Pipewire. I'm trying to make it super easy here. But that's the idea. 2 years ago, before Wire Plumber was actually a thing, you had to use special packages, which were called, if I remember correctly, Pipewire Media Session, which will be replacing Wire Plumber until Wire Plumber took over. And guess what? With KDE, because this is a desktop environment I chose during the installation, and Debian testing and stable, because I was running testing, I still didn't have Wire Plumber available. And for my hardware and the way I set up everything, it's a problem. To give you an idea, Wire Plumber has been out on the Arch distro, for example, for more than 2 years now. More than 2 years. And if you can avoid Pipewire Media Session layer, just do it. Go with Wire Plumber, because it's going to make your sound configuration so much easier. Well, it was not the case there. So it took me some time to understand what was the reason behind the scene for my configuration related to my mixer, and all my sound settings were actually not working. Or at least not working properly. So I had to install all the packages manually, remove the old one, redo all the configuration. I would say it was a little bit of a pain too. And now the series on the cake. So at this point I was okay, this is just 2 little issues I had to go through. I can make it work. If it's just that, I can just go through it and install my NVIDIA driver, like the latest one. Because what you need to understand is that if you run Debian and you want to install the driver right now available even in testing, there's a version 5.25. So what does it mean 5.25? So let me show you. If I do a sudo apt search NVIDIA, it's going to make a research and give me all the driver like available right off the bat and the version, right? So if you look at the version here, you have the 5.25.147. So I don't need to go through all of it. Like this is a version in testing. That's what it is. So 5.25, if I go on the NVIDIA website, they're not there anymore. The beta branch is 5.50, the feature branch is 5.45, and the production branch is 5.35. So you're gonna have to install drivers which are like pretty old, like really old, even if you are in testing or even if you want to go crazy and go to seed. So that's the first problem. And it took me some time to realize that NVIDIA is actually providing a special repo for all the Deb distribution just to install the driver. And this is what I've done. I just installed the driver through their repo. And the repo I'm talking about is the CUDA repo here, NVIDIA CUDA. And you will see it will make sense after, because what I'm going to tell you is kind of crazy. So I went there, followed everything, installed everything. Everything went smooth. I was super happy. I was like, okay, now the drivers are good. I can move on. And most of the usage I would have for my graphic card at this point were okay. Then the week after, I decided to stream Palworld. So Palworld is a game which has been booming, and it uses the latest Unreal Engine version. It kind of like requires to have you the latest driver. And you will see, you understand where I'm getting there. So I launched the game, and I have a black screen. I don't understand. Like I just can't launch the game properly with my command I would use normally. It just doesn't work. And I'm like, man, like what's going on? Like, is that because I made a mistake installing the driver? So I look at all the packages and I'm like, I can't find any solution. I can't make the game start if I want to activate the NV API like module. So what does it mean clearly? When you start a game on Linux with the NVIDIA card through Proton, what Proton does, it kind of like hides the fact that you own an NVIDIA card, and I wouldn't say emulate, but your graphic card is going to show up as an AMD card. So when you go into your option, you won't have access, for example, to DLSS. And what happens there is that if I remove the variable or environment command line to launch the game for showing to the games that I own an NVIDIA card, well, I don't have access to DLSS, which is fair. If I want to use DLSS, I have to use a special command. I'm gonna make it show here on the screen for you guys. It's pretty common to make sure that Proton is showing my graphic card to the game. But when I do that, my game won't start. It just won't happen. I remove this command and boom, the game works. But obviously I won't have access to DLSS. So at this point I was like, okay, I'm done with Debian, because it's kind of tricky, right? It kind of make you feel like you install the driver, everything seems fine, and then you have all those little problems that start to pop up left and right. And I'm like, this is not really what I want in terms of experience. So then what I've done my research, and look what I found. lib NVIDIA-NGX1 missing on NVIDIA Debian repo. So this package is missing from the NVIDIA Debian repo, so we are not able to utilize a feature like DLSS and ray tracing if we choose to install the NVIDIA driver package from there. The version of lib NVIDIA NGX blah 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 in the official Debian repo is 5.25. So that package won't work with the latest NVIDIA driver package from the NVIDIA/KIDA repo. So now we are at a point where if you just want to use DLSS, you're gonna have to do like many tricks to get there. Is it possible? Oh yeah, it is. Watch, I'm still running Debian right now. But what a pain. And I know some of you guys are gonna be like, oh yeah, but that's an NVIDIA issue here. They didn't do their job or whatever. Well, in my opinion, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Because you have to think that this repo is not for the desktop environment. This is for CUDA. And the promise here from NVIDIA is just to use your graphic card as a, AI tool. It's not there to use it for something else. This is definitively for using for CUDA. So they are not telling everyone that this is for everything else. This is just for CUDA. And it comes from the user or the distro maintainer to do the job here and to make sure that the user experience is going to be okay. So, I was like, hey, maybe I was the only one to have this issue. And I look on internet, I found, for example, this screenshot here, where this poor gentleman using the normal driver, even the 525, wouldn't have access to DLSS or anything else, right? You can see here, the options are pop out. So now you are in this weird position where on one hand, you think you have the driver installed, but they are half installed. they don't work properly with all the game. And on the other hand, you had all this trouble just to get there. And then that will be the experience I had on Debian for you guys. Is it a great distro? I can't say the opposite. That's the distro I think I spend the most time in my life. But I use it on the server. And Debian on server is just perfect. Minimalist. You can put your hand under the hood. You can do whatever you want. When you come to the desktop, man, this is big problem ahead. It's a big problem ahead. And I just could not recommend it for a gamer. I just could not do it. Could you make it work? Yes, I made it work. But at what price? Because if I explain you how to actually install the NVIDIA driver, I'm gonna be losing your mind. I had to disinstall everything manually. I had to reboot and set up the multi-user setting, disable the graphical output, install everything manually via the .run from the NVIDIA website. And then I had to set up everything manually again, reboot, come back, and finally have access to my graphic driver. And I'm like, man, this is just not something that a normal user want to do. So of course, if you love Debian and you want to make sure you use Debian on a daily basis, why not? Okay, what I'm saying to you guys is that there is a lot of better option out there which gonna give you the same result and won't give you any headache. So yeah, that's all I have to say, guys, for this challenge. So is it a win challenge? I can say I won it. I can say I lost it. I would say this one is kind of a mid type of result. For me, yeah, it's a no-go. Guys, if you want a game, if you want to have fun, and you don't want to have a headache, don't install Debian as your main. Because the truth is that most of the packages that come with it are super late, super, I would say outdated compared to any other distro. Obviously, it's going to be more stable, but for gaming, it might work right now with your hardware, but the day you're going to have an upgrade, you're going to be so behind and you're going to have so much work to do to make it work that it kind of makes this distro, at least for me, just not bearable for a gamer and a content creator. It's just too much work. That's all. So guys, thank you for watching again. Thanks for all the support. Don't forget to hack the algorithm, put a thumb up, and go watch another video there. Subscribe, please. And also, I want to thank all the members that are financially supporting the channel. Guys, you're the best. And as always, see you in the next one. Bisous, bisous.